America does not need more America. And yet, I feel like every year artists try to break into the US by sounding exactly like it. The US is the biggest music market on the planet. It's where the money is. It's where attention is. It's where global superstardom still happens. It's huge, it's oversaturated, and it is aggressively self-sufficient. It has more rappers, more R&B vocalists, more songwriters, more pop labs, more producers, and more money than anyone else. I'm Poppy Reed. I tell stories about music and culture, and I've been thinking about the thing that nobody wants to say out loud right now. If the US already makes what you're trying to make, why would it import you? It's like exporting sand to the desert. The artists who actually break America, they're not the ones copying LA or Atlanta or New York. They're the ones that arrive with something the US can't produce. This is true in Iceland, in Nigeria, in Spain, in South Korea, and in Australia too. The artists who actually cut through aren't competing with America's strengths. They're filling America's gaps. Take Björk. Björk didn't break the US by trying to sound American. She arrived with Icelandic folklore, experimental electronica, alien-like sounds, and visuals that looks like performance art on shrooms. Americans didn't just accept it, they needed it. Björk's entire global career is proof that you don't have to speak America's language to succeed there. You just have to speak and sound like your own. Same story with Rosalia. I love saying that name. She didn't break America by chasing LA pop. She broke it by reinventing flamenco. That's a sound rooted deeply in Spanish and Romani traditions. And she fused it with hyper-modern production. The hand claps, the styling, the accents. Honestly, it's any wonder she collaborated with Björk on the song Bergen. They both don't sand off their edges. They double down on them. Also, Stromae reached American audiences singing in French. And yet, he sold out US venues because he offered a mix of Congolese rhythms, the kind of European dance music that simply didn't exist in the US mainstream market. Then look at Afrobeats. Fela Kuti pioneered Afrobeat decades ago, but this new wave, Burna Boy, Rema, they're breaking America precisely because they're not trying to sound like American R&B or American rap. They're exporting Lagos. They're exporting identity. They're exporting a groove that you can't manufacture in a Hollywood writer room. K-pop is maybe the most obvious example of it all. It uses Western pop structures, sure, but everything else, the language, the fashion, the choreography, the intricacy in production, that's Korean to the core. The reason K-pop exploded globally wasn't because it copied America, it was because it offered pop with precision, discipline, maximalism, something that Americans weren't producing. Even the UK, a country much closer to the US musically, breaks America because of its accent. Arctic Monkeys didn't sand down their Sheffield vowels. Adele didn't hide the Tottenham accent. Amy Winehouse didn't Americanize a single line. The accent travels, the accent sells, because the accent is identity. Sweden exports in a way that almost seems unfair at this point. ABBA, Robin, Max Martin, they all share the thing that Swedish music does better than anyone else. Melancholy disguised as joy. It's bright, it's clean, but underneath it, it's sad as No one writes sadness like Scandinavians, and Americans love it. Australia might not be in the top 10 of global markets right now, but the artists we're having success with right now act extremely foreign. Amyl and the Sniffers, nominated for a Grammy right now, don't sound like any American rock band because America simply doesn't make this kind of chaos. The accent, the pub rock DNA, the feral humor, it's pure Australiana. They're not exporting rock, they're exporting Australia. Kevin Parker, he didn't break the US with Tame Impala by blending in. He built an entirely different universe. Psychedelic, groove heavy, bass forward, a sound that Americans didn't have. Courtney Barnett, okay, she sings like she's talking to her mates at the pub. She tells like hyper-specific Melbourne suburbia stories. She sounds unmistakably Australian and Americans adore her for it. Hiatus Kaiyote sit in a genre that the US invented, but they don't play by US rules. Their rhythms wobble, their harmonies curve, their melodies spiral. It's R&B, but mutated, not copied. And that's the point. The Australians who export well don't sound like America. They sound like themselves. Of course, there are anomalies to what I'm talking about, but there's this global pattern for all artists who break through in the US. They succeed in one of two ways. One, be very foreign, like lean into your accent, lean into your culture, lean into the weirdness of where you're from. This is the Björk path. That's the Rosalia path. That's Burna Boy. That's Arctic Monkeys. That's Amyl and the Sniffers. And two, become very local, like move to LA, move to Atlanta, join the writer rooms, join the machine, become part of the American ecosystem itself. That's the Kid Laroi, that's Sia, that's Justin Bieber, that's Keith Urban. They didn't arrive as outsiders, they arrived as locals. The middle ground almost never works. Not because they're not talented, there is so much talent, but because they're exporting a sound that America already has. So here it is, clean and simple. America doesn't need more America, it needs the world, but only when the world sounds like itself. I'm Poppy Reed. I tell stories about music, film, and culture. Hit follow for more.